Seeking support to cope with the devastating effects of infidelity. I'm relatively new to this community and feeling completely lost. I typically engage in discussions about grilling, smoking, barbecue, football, and electric guitars and amps on this site. I am a 51-year-old man who has been married to my 51-year-old wife for 33 years. We have 3 adult children, 2 daughters aged 29 and 26, and a son aged 22. Despite experiencing the usual ups and downs in any long-term relationship, we have maintained a normal and loving marriage for 33 years, with our anniversary approaching next month. While I am a hopeless romantic, my wife is less outwardly sentimental, but appreciates romantic gestures, which I frequently make, such as writing love letters, texts, emails, and planning surprise date nights. Our recent couples cooking class was a particularly enjoyable experience. We maintain intimacy on a regular basis, usually on Saturdays and Sundays. Our home is a happy one, and there have been no major complaints. Let me give you a quick background on me. I had a single mom and do not know my biological father. My mother kept every detail of him a secret and took that secret to the grave with her. My wife and our children have always wondered about that. This year for my birthday, one of my children bought me a DNA test from Ancestry. They said we could maybe discover something about my biological father. Before I took it, all the kids decided they wanted to take one too, since their bloodline also comes from my unknown father. When we got our test results, they were bizarre, to say the least. I'm sure some of you have guessed, but my oldest 2 children are not mine. We each got our results separately, but the kids had been talking among themselves before they shared with us. So they asked if we could do a family dinner in our house, and they all came over. Dinner was fine, but they wanted to talk to us about something. Then the bombshell. They said they compared results and that the oldest 2 children are not my kids. The youngest child asked if we had anything to tell them, to which I initially responded that there must be a mistake. However, upon looking at my wife, I realized that there was no error. She had a look of utter terror on her face, unlike anything I had ever seen before. This woman, who is typically calm and level-headed, suddenly screamed out incoherently and fled to the bedroom, locking the door behind her. Despite our attempts to persuade her to come out, she insisted on being left alone for a couple of hours to collect herself. We respected her wishes and reconvened at the table later, where she joined us. During those 2 hours, my mind was racing, trying to make sense of the situation. I couldn't fathom what was happening. It felt like an eternity. I continued to believe that this must be a mistake. After all, my wife and I were not the type to engage in such activities. We were more accustomed to family-friendly content like Disney Channel rather than Cinemax. Around the 2-hour mark, she requested the kids to leave so we could speak in private. Despite their initial protests, they eventually stepped out, promising to return if they didn't hear from her soon. I was left sitting there, feeling completely stunned by the turn of events. It felt surreal, like I was part of a movie unfolding before my eyes. With deep sincerity, she shared something that left a lasting impact on me. As she held my gaze, she revealed that she had been unfaithful many years ago with a neighbor and friend from our social circle. The affair lasted for 4 years until she realized the value of our relationship. Tenderly touching my cheeks, she confessed, "You mean the world to me. I am committed to you for life. I love you wholeheartedly. Many years ago, I made a stupid and selfish mistake that hurt you deeply. I want you to know that it was not your fault at all. You have been an incredible husband, the best any woman could hope for. Let's remember the wonderful life we have built together and not let this mistake ruin it. My biggest regret is that our daughters are not biologically mine, and it pains me to know that they are devastated by this revelation. Your support and love mean everything to me. I am willing to answer any questions and do whatever it takes to make things right. I have never once thought of cheating on you since that regretful incident. The man I cheated with is no longer alive, and although there was no love between us, we deluded ourselves into thinking it made us better spouses. Please know that you are my everything, and I am committed to making amends and rebuilding trust between you. As we all now know, I am not the biological father of their children. that role belongs to another man. It is also significant to mention that prior to this DNA test, my wife herself was uncertain of the truth. What truly saddens me is the realization that the person I held in such high regard for love, respect, and admiration engaged in a long-standing affair. The woman who had shown me unwavering love and loyalty for decades also deceived me. The heartbreaking question that lingers in my mind is whether my entire adult life, thus far, has been built upon falsehoods. Was my marriage a facade? Is nothing genuine in this world? Despite being an exceptional wife and partner, the fact that she carried on a secret relationship weighs heavily on me. Even amidst her infidelity, I have had no complaints throughout our marriage. What adds to my anguish is the fact that the other man, who passed away from cancer a few years ago, is no longer here for me to confront man to man and potentially address my feelings physically. It is also distressing to realize that I was her first and only, while I had only one previous insignificant experience before meeting her. Discovering that she was involved in a prolonged affair intensifies the challenges of moving past this betrayal. Recently, my wife and I reached a significant milestone, our 33rd anniversary, which is fast approaching. However, the situation is complicated as I made the difficult decision to ask her to leave following a devastating mistake she made in her youth. She is currently staying with her sister and her husband, and the emotional toll on both of us is profound. Despite the assurances from friends and family that we have had a wonderful life together and that forgiveness is key to moving forward, my heart is struggling to reconcile with this matter. While I recognize the logic in their words, my emotions are clouded by a sense of loss and despair. I have treasured my life with my wife and our children, but the recent revelation has left me feeling adrift and questioning the possibility of returning to our previous state. The idea of a different life without her seems unbearable, and I find solace only in my family. At this moment, I find myself in a dark place contemplating extreme measures. If I cannot find a way to forgive and move past this, the thought of ending my life looms large as an escape from this turmoil. Thank you to everyone for your support and kind words. I truly appreciate all the messages I have received. I am still processing everything and need some time before I can think about what comes next. My sister-in-law has informed me of how my wife is feeling, and she is struggling with guilt and regret. She is being encouraged to seek help, as am I by my friends and family. I am taking this time to consider my options. While I am not afraid of what may come, I am weighing my choices carefully. I am grateful for the life I have lived so far and am focused on finding a way back to the life I shared with my wife and family. Your responses have not gone unnoticed, and I am grateful for the support. Thank you again for taking the time to reach out to me. Thank you all again for your support. Update: I asked my wife to come back about 10 days ago. Our 33rd wedding anniversary is tomorrow. We're all like zombies these days. I don't know how to process this. I'm not seeing a therapist or anyone right now. I've confided in a few people but don't really have a really close confidant. My wife has served that role for the last 33 years. Obviously, I didn't kill myself and have decided not to no matter what. I had that all worked out. I have even investigated all legalities and insurance loopholes of what ending myself means as far as life insurance, pension, death benefits, etc. It would all be covered. My wife and children would still get the benefits they get if I died of natural causes. The relationship is different with my daughters and I. We all proclaim our love and that I'm still to my dad is constantly on my mind, but it feels like we're trying to convince ourselves of that more than anyone else. Things are different now, and I'm not sure if they can ever be the same. I know without a doubt that I can never be the same. It's astonishing what revealed my wife's secret. A simple ancestry DNA test. She intended to keep this secret to herself indefinitely, with her sister as the only other person knowing. The weight of this has haunted her for years. She fully understood the risks and the loss she could face, and once the situation unfolded, she realized how foolish, self-centered, and immature she had been. As the youngest in her family, she was the apple of her father's eye and was quite indulged. When we first came together, we made sure the other man's family was informed. We believed that since they are part of his lineage, they deserved to know. Unsurprisingly, there are some very surprised individuals on their end. Welcome aboard. My daughters have now met some half-siblings they were previously unaware of. They're in a state of surprise and confusion. Said girls and constantly shower me with, "You're my dad forever. I love my papa and all that, and I do appreciate it. But it's not the same. It just isn't. They aren't my flesh and blood. They never were." These days, my wife is the one that is suicidal. She's crushed that this has caught up with her. She really hoped to take it to the grave and was willing to accept and internalize the guilt and shame as her penance/punishment for what she did. For years, she said things like, "You're too good for me. Why are you so good to me? I don't deserve you." She'd also say things like, "I'm a crappy person, and I don't know why I was blessed with a husband like you. I don't deserve you. I just figured that was out of a self-esteem issue because she was a wonderful person, an amazing wife, and mother that absolutely did deserve a good husband that treated her well. One of my primary missions in life was to be the husband she deserved. My own career has been limited over the years because I decided young that my family. Putting my family first has always been my top priority. I turned down several high-paying job opportunities that required extensive travel because I cherished the time spent with my loved ones. While we may not have been wealthy, we had enough to meet our needs and create lasting memories together. Discovering that my daughters are not biologically mine has been a devastating blow, but my commitment to creating a strong family bond remains unwavering. My wife, burdened with guilt for her actions, is seeking therapy and has offered to do whatever it takes to help repair our family unit. It's a shame that has now surfaced and is crushing her. She can barely look our children in the eye. They held her in very high regard, as we all did. I can see the pain, not just the pain of getting caught and how it affects her, but the pain of true remorse in knowing what she has done to us. We have started talking about the affair. It's tough because we both break down emotionally. Both of our hearts are broken. Anyway, we got married young at 19 years old and had our first child at 21. We became husband, wife, and mom, dad very young, and that was who we were. She was always a great mother and wife. She says she was still so young and very spoiled, selfish about a sense of entitlement, and had some resentment that she was off the market at 21 as a wife and mother, even though all her friends were still out there getting attention from guys and sowing their wild oats, something she felt she had cheated herself out of. But she didn't regret marrying me that young because she loved me. With all her heart, she expressed her fear of losing me. They never discussed leaving their families to be together. Rather, they found solace in each other as an escape from the monotonous routine of family life. She admits that she may sound insincere and regrets her deceitful actions. However, she wants me to know unequivocally that her heart has always belonged to me and still does. She reassures me that she has never regretted being my wife and the mother of our children, stating that it has been the greatest joy in her life. Realistically, she acknowledges that there is no quick fix and expresses regret for her actions. If given the chance to advise her younger self, she would caution against making the same mistakes that have caused such turmoil. She takes full responsibility, acknowledging that her behavior was foolish, selfish, and hurtful to me and our family. She understands that I may not want to continue our marriage, but she hopes for forgiveness and a chance to make amends. She expressed that regardless of the outcome, she understands and prioritizes what is best for me. She reassured me that she will love only me until her last breath. During her stay with her sister, they had meaningful conversations where her sister recognized her growth from a spoiled brat into a wonderful woman, urging her to be completely honest and face the consequences. She has since been honest and transparent. However, it bothers me that those who are aware of the situation, including my wife and children, are treating me with excessive sympathy, similar to someone facing a dire diagnosis. While I appreciate their concern, I comprehend their difficulty in knowing how to react. Recently, my wife inquired whether I wished to acknowledge our anniversary. She expressed a willingness to do something special for me, understanding my feelings and respecting my decision. If I choose not to celebrate, I want to acknowledge it. I replied, "Let's not dismiss it. Let's stick to our tradition of going to our beloved Mexican restaurant, as we have for many years." We've made it through 33 years together. Although we now face new challenges in life that we must navigate, we will overcome them. This brought a fleeting smile to her face, followed by uncontrollable tears. This has become a frequent occurrence for her lately. Her sister has advised her to stop crying, and she is attempting to do so. Here's the situation. I have had the opportunity to process this entire situation thoroughly. I have pondered it incessantly, examined it from all perspectives, scrutinized every detail, taken into account everything that transpired, and contemplated all potential outcomes. What she did all those years ago was incredibly foolish, self-centered, unkind, and heartless. A reprehensible action. It shattered my heart in ways I had never experienced. However, my heart will mend. Life comprises both joy and sorrow. While we are currently enduring a period of pain, happiness will return. I strive to be resilient. I have dedicated time to mourning and analyzing this situation from all angles. I am aware of my path forward tomorrow evening. I have made a firm decision that I will express to my wife my deep appreciation for her unwavering support and love as a wonderful partner and devoted mother to our children. Since the day we first met at our part-time job in a local retail store at the age of 17, I have cherished her and my heart has belonged solely to her. I am grateful every day for her presence in my life and her role as my wife. I plan to acknowledge any past mistakes and offer forgiveness as we share tears, hugs, and comfort before celebrating our anniversary with dinner and a movie. Despite any challenges, she remains the epitome of an exceptional wife and mother. Our enduring love and commitment of 33 years will be honored, and I will continue to shower my love, respect, and gratitude on her and our children as I have always done since my children were born. I will remain strong and be the leader of my family for any of them who need to express their emotions about our situation. However, I have decided not to dwell on it further. I acknowledge what has happened, but I cannot change it. Together, we will overcome this challenge, and I am determined not to let it disrupt our unity. It is somewhat surprising to admit at 51 years old, but I believe we have all matured through this experience. While it has been incredibly difficult, I empathize with anyone going through something similar. It is a painful journey. I may not be the best person to offer advice, but I urge you not to let it consume you, as I once contemplated doing. Stay strong and good luck. An update from Albuquerque. You can find more details about my background and my history. We are working towards moving forward from this ordeal. Recently, I unexpectedly drove by a Chevy dealership and ended up trading my old camera for a 2018 Camaro ZL1. It has always been a dream of mine to own a powerful car, and now I finally have one. My wife was supportive and I am enjoying every moment with this new ride. This is just the beginning of a new chapter. It was though this morning I was in a meeting at work. The VP of Financial Ops was being his usual whole self. He always gives my department an extra load of crap. I've sat through 1,000 of these meetings. About 30 minutes in, I had an overwhelming urge to leave. I got up and walked out. I got in my car and left. I started driving west. I've been gone for a few hours. I'm a couple hundred miles out. I'm heading for California. I've always wanted to live there, but life didn't make that doable. I haven't left my wife. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I love this car, and I'm going to California. I hate my job. I'm not going back there. I don't know what I'll do when I get to California. Maybe send for my wife, maybe not. I don't know what I'm doing right now. But one thing I'm aware of is that I feel awesome. I haven't felt this good in a long time. Is this some type of nervous breakdown euphoria? I don't feel like I'm going crazy. On the contrary, I feel inexplicably coherent and lucid right now. Wow, I'm going to San Diego. 275 miles to go. I've finished lunch and am heading back out. Thanks for letting me get this out. There is no one in my life I could discuss this with. I'm sorry if I've let anyone down. I try to be strong and will be. I just need to go. Help. I didn't make it to OKC, drove enough for one day. I'm in Tulsa at a Holiday Inn Express. I had a very tasty dinner. There's a bar across the street. Looks like a redneck joint. I'm envisioning Budweiser, jukebox full of country music, pool tables. I'm heading over there in a few minutes. I emailed the whole family, said I'm fine, don't worry. I just had to go. I'll be back when I'm ready. Got responses from each. My kids are all very worried, but I assure them I'm fine. My wife says she's worried sick and she wants to call. I said in the email I didn't want to talk to any of them on the phone, so I'm not calling. I also turned off my location services. I want to be off the grid. Still many miles to go. By Saturday, I want to take a walk by the sea, find myself standing by the wall in Mission Bay, San Diego, grappling with the realization that what I once held dear now feels like a mirage. Being a dedicated husband and father was the cornerstone of my identity. But as those roles dissolve, I'm left questioning my own sense of self. The person I thought I was no longer seems recognizable, lost in the shadows of who I used to be. Despite the uncertain path ahead, I hold on to a glimmer of hope that perhaps I will uncover a newfound identity, one that resonates more authentically with who I am now. Amidst this internal turmoil, I seek solace in the simple pleasures of a cold beer and friendly banter at a local bar. As I gaze out over the bay from my room in the Gaslamp district, preparing to immerse myself in the excitement of the World Series, I find a sense of liberation in the present moment. Tonight, surrounded by a diverse crowd of baseball enthusiasts, I revel in the freedom from thoughts of my former life. This trip has offered a reprieve from the weight of my past, allowing me to engage with new experiences and connect with unfamiliar faces. In this lively atmosphere, I am drawn to the charm of the bartender, eager to engage in conversation and forge new connections. As I navigate this journey of self-discovery, I embrace the opportunity to encounter fresh perspectives and embrace the unforeseen possibilities that lie ahead. Tonight, as the World Series unfolds before me, I am reminded that life is a tapestry woven with unpredictable threads, each moment offering the potential for growth and connection. Here's to the serendipitous encounters and spontaneous adventures that await me on this exhilarating ride. Cheers to a good night and the promise of new beginnings. ER2. Have a good evening, everyone. Congratulations, mate. I am glad you've achieved your goal. Now time for some much-needed, much-deserved you time. That's exactly what I'm doing and really loving it so far. I've met several really cool people so far. I was always kind of an introvert. I had my wife. She was my best friend. I experienced everything in life with her and didn't need anyone else. I'm finding that I like meeting new people. Made it to Albuquerque. Had some great Mexican food and $3 steaky sambar, my fave. And I'm chilling in this big, comfy king-sized bed with 4 pillows and watching the extra innings of the World Series. Whatever is going on with me, I have to say I feel pretty good. I've met some really cool strangers on this trip so far. I told my story to a couple of good old boys I played pool with last night. One of them said, "Damn man, you need some therapy." And by therapy, I mean a lot of beer and a lot of pee. He was funny as hell, and I had a great night. Wanted to get some slut EP tonight, but this game is too good to turn off. Good night, all. Feeling good, thanks for the comments. Saw that my update this morning got flagged and removed, but can't imagine why. Just a very short update. I see that I won't make San Diego by Saturday. Headed out a couple hours ago. I'm trying for Albuquerque by tonight. Had a lot of fun last night. Have a good day. Thank you for all your comments. I made it to St. Louis. I'm going to push ahead to Oklahoma City and stop for the night. I called my boss and said I need an emergency leave of absence. I've got almost 2 months of personal time off on the books before anything else will kick in. Between Louisville, Kentucky and St. Louis on I-64 West, I got my car up to 130 miles per hour. It was exhilarating. I know it can go faster, but the road conditions didn't permit it. When I get to I-40 in the desert, I'm going to shoot for 160. I haven't talked to family yet. It's only 3 p.m. where we live. I don't even know if they know I'm gone. I'll call them when I can update for the night. I regret the delay in providing an update, but recent months have brought significant changes in my life. It feels like a whole new chapter where the person I used to be and the feelings I once had are a distant memory. The transformation I've undergone has altered me fundamentally, making it impossible to return to the past. My identity was once deeply intertwined with my marriage. Now, however, I find myself reevaluating what that meant. On a brighter note, I recently returned home after a fulfilling trip to California. Meeting new people, particularly women my age, was both captivating and rejuvenating. It allowed me to experience life from a fresh perspective, even if only briefly detaching from the chaos surrounding me. I mustered the courage to inform my employer about my situation, disappointed by the necessity but relieved by their understanding and support. Amidst it all, my beloved Camaro still stands parked outside my office, a constant source of joy and solace. Its presence serves as a testament to enduring love and a symbol of moving forward despite the challenges everywhere I go. Life seems to be moving too quickly. I've come to the realization that I no longer find fulfillment in my career. In retrospect, I think I may have mistaken my passion for the life it provided for my wife and family. Now that I've detached from that aspect of my life, I'm beginning to view things from a different perspective. I've decided that I no longer want to work for others, and am in the process of formulating an exit strategy. Despite the fact that I may need to part with a portion of my retirement savings in a divorce settlement, I am confident that I will be able to manage. I have a desire to pursue something new, such as opening a bar and diner in a trendy part of town. I have a talent for cooking for large groups and thoroughly enjoy it, specializing in dishes like burgers, tacos, and fajitas, ideal for a bar setting. While this is just an initial idea, I am considering it seriously. Regarding my relationship with my wife, although we are still together, I have found myself emotionally detached. While I am not unkind to her, I no longer exhibit the level of care and affection that a husband typically shows his wife. Sadly, I've lost the ability to feel the same connection as before, and I am unable to reignite those feelings. My current presence in our relationship feels incomplete and lacking. As not enough. I do whatever I want when I want and check with no one. She tries to let me know her comings and goings, but I tell her that's not necessary. She's being very pleasant around me and is so ashamed of herself, I can tell. I think something she valued in our lives is how much respect I had for her. I did. I had more respect for my wife than any other human being I've ever had in my life. Now I feel no respect for her at all. None. It's like she erased the biggest and best thing that had happened in my life up to this point. My marriage, of course. Everyone gives me advice. Go to marriage counseling. It was so long ago. Don't ruin the best thing in your life because of a stupid mistake she made so long ago. She's been an amazing wife and mother. You have to give her credit for that. Blah, blah, blah. Literally everyone in my life has an opinion on how I can heal and what I should do. To be honest, I don't know what the future holds, and right now I don't care. It's pleasant at the house I've moved to, completed the basement, and now has the freedom to come and go as he pleases. His wife doesn't nag him or put pressure on him, which makes him believe she is grateful that he is sticking around. He suspects she holds on to hope as long as he remains at home and hasn't mentioned divorce. He is content with not having all the answers right now. When the right course of action becomes evident, he will take it. However, he knows two things for certain. He won't rush himself, and he will prioritize his own happiness and desires without outside influence. Despite the changes, his love for his daughters remains strong, and the bond with all his children remains intact. He lightheartedly jokes with them about needing a kidney, but acknowledges that only his son could potentially provide one. While things may feel different now, they are all determined to navigate their new normal and find a way forward together currently. It's Friday afternoon around 3:30, and I'm getting ready to start my weekend. While some may consider it unprofessional for a department head to leave at this time, I don't really care. I've started dressing more casually in jeans and Skechers shoes to work every day, a departure from my previous suit-wearing executive style. I'm comfortable with this change, regardless of what others might think. Mental health concerns are no longer a priority, and I'm feeling much better these days, albeit quite different. I'm looking forward to a great weekend as I now create my own enjoyment. That's all for now. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Until next time, have a good day, everyone.